I am not going to say whether or not player collision is bad in this game or good in this game. I will say, however, that it is your fault if you are at the front of the pack and you die because you got pushed. You will tend to have this in tighter areas or during sandstorm fights. Termite Overmind usually being the other super where this happens a lot. You are already seeing a bunch of players using air to push players around for whatever reason, and there are usually multiple reasons why they do this. At the sandstorm, however, you don't really have a choice other than using soil or air, but if you use too many soils, you lose out on the damage, so you have to be careful there. Now during sandstorm fights, there's usually a lot more space to move around, but there are times when that is not the case, and considering a lot of air rarities take up a lot of space, there will be a scenario where players will get pushed into the sandstorm. And again, if you are at the front, it's your fault that you took that risk. And if you take that risk, prepare to be pushed. And as long as player collision is active, this is going to happen whether you like it or not. So I am going to give you a step-by-step guide to not get pushed into a super. And this is for any super, not just Termite Overmind and Sandstorm. Step 1. If you are at a super very early, wait until you are in a position that you can comfortably attack the super. And this is certainly the case for sandstorms. Step 2. Do not stay in the front. If you do stay in the front, you are taking a huge risk, and again it's your fault. Stay in the middle or stay at the back. You may have to use Third Eye and sacrifice some damage per second, but at the very least you will survive and maybe obtain the loot. Step 3 is staying in the middle or at the back, by the way. Step 4. If you are at the front and you want to get out of there, use bubbles or even air. Or if you are very unhinged, use rubber. This is easier said than done, and I know this, I am aware of this. Step 5. Alternate between Third Eye and another damage petal. If you are close enough, but are not at the front, you might be able to get away with not using Third Eye. Step 6. If there are other monsters around you, you may have to go back into the stack. Maybe even use Lotus if you are being damaged by a scorpion, because they are a pain in the ass at sandstorms. Step 7, and this only applies to when you're late towards a super. You may have to go into the front, but again, you are taking that risk. Do not blame others or the developer for this. Step 8, and I think this is the most important one. Do not blame everyone else for your death. You took the risk. You must pay if you die. This includes players who troll with air. You expect it, you can adapt to it. Step 9. If you have to clear monsters, clear. If you don't have a chance to clear, then of course you have no chance to get the loot. Maybe. If you don't stop attacking the super. Actually, I lied. Step 10 is the most important. Simply do not die! You thought I was gonna swear? Nah, that would be too predictable. And that's the guide on how not to get pushed. Now do keep in mind, this does come with risks this time. But at the very least, you will survive to the very end and will have a better chance of looting the super that you are fighting. Personally, I wanted to make this because I am sick and tired of you toolbags blaming others for the death that you could easily have prevented. Now have fun looting and don't get pushed.